Welcome to Melissa Fortenberry, Vice President of Product at RVShare, which is a peer-to-peer RV rental marketplace founded in 2013. Melissa, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So thus far, our guests have been talking about what could be described as sort of the traditional inventory in the rental sector, things like homes and apartments. But as you well know, the concept of accommodations other than hotels is really much broader than that. It's especially since the start of the pandemic, I think we've seen travelers show greater interest in things like camping, tiny cabins, boats, and of course, recreational vehicles. So I'm wondering if you can start by telling us, other than your business kind of booming in the last year, which I know it has, how have you seen changes, maybe in the length of stay, for example? What are you noticing?
Sure. So while the pandemic gave us a giant tailwind, we have been growing really rapidly since our founding in 2013. There are over 11 million RVs in the United States on the road and 48 million families that go camping every year. So to give people some context, we've booked over 1 million nights in the past 12 months and 3 million since we were founded. When we step back and look at what's changed with the pandemic, I think some of what you said is super true. The pandemic has caused people to really want to return to nature. The remote working of people, the ability to work remotely has really allowed people to work anywhere. And, when you combine those with an RV, which is a bedroom, place to sleep, a bathroom, a kitchen on wheels, you can really live and work and travel anywhere. So what we've seen with the pandemic is really this expanded use case for RVs. The majority of our bookings do happen with people traveling to campgrounds and to parks. But more and more, we're seeing families and millennials who are working remotely. They're hosting family in their driveway because it provides a safe, separate place to basically hotel anywhere. They're going to music festivals, sports events, or sporting games. And so it really is just expanding the use of the RV has been the biggest change.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about the concept of parking one in your driveway to host family. That's very interesting. So how are you at RVShare growing your inventory and your supply?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, RVs on average are only used about 2 weeks a year. So that's 50 weeks of availability that we have from those 11 million RVs on the road. On top of that, RV sales have also exploded, and younger people who are used to the sharing economy are the people buying RVs today and since the pandemic. So we're really focused on the inventory that's there and the giant availability that we have to be able to offer to renters.
And then just to follow up on that, can you speak to then how are you getting those people? If I go out and buy an RV or I'm already an RV owner, how am I finding out about this opportunity of RVShare?
Yeah, I mean, the two main ways are through digital marketing and word of mouth.
Okay. And can you talk a bit about your distribution strategies then? Right now, is it all direct through RVShare's website or your social media, that sort of thing?
Yeah, we're pure direct right now. We do have definitely affiliate relationships where we're exchanging traffic with other sites in the category, but right now we're mostly direct.
Is that something that you see potentially changing or evolving down the road? We've certainly seen.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say we've certainly seen changes with other kind of peer-to-peer marketplace offerings over the course of their evolution.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing there is that we feel like we're still in the very early days, and there's a lot of growth to still happen just to even know that we're a category that exists. The category awareness is really low, and so we're really focused on growing that.
Can you speak at all to some of what you're doing to grow that awareness?
So we invest heavily in digital marketing. That's primarily where we spend our marketing dollars. But during our busy periods, we will do TV and radio in focused areas to attract not only owners, but renters.
Okay. Can you tell us a bit, who do you view as your competitors? I mean, beyond the other RV marketplaces, like I know there's Outdoorsy and there may be some other ones. Who do you see as your competitor?
Yeah, so I mean, our goal is to make RV rentals a mainstream travel category, and so we see hotels and vacation rentals as our main competition. You know, that's the consideration set when people are traveling. Hotels, now vacation rentals, and we hope RVs to be the next one. You know, I don't think that the majority of people realize that you can stay inside a national park with an RV, and you don't have to stay at a hotel an hour away, 30 minutes away. So we're really working to show consumers that RVs are a great choice when looking to reconnect to nature, work remotely, you know, get an extra bedroom in the driveway, whatever it may be.
So I know that prior to joining RVShare, you had spent about 10 years with HomeAway. Can you speak at all to what RVShare has learned or implemented based on the experiences of companies such as that, or Airbnb, or
Yeah.
others that are kind of more advanced in the
Yeah.
evolution?
Yeah, I mean, you know, in the 10 years at HomeAway, like the previous speakers mentioned, we did learn a lot, we changed a lot, but I would say that there's, you know, a couple really core things that we've carried over to RVShare. One of the first ones is that constantly improving the renter experience and, you know, eliminating friction and making that booking process as easy as possible is always going to be a top priority. And to do that, we really focus on ongoing testing. You know, RVs are at the same, you know, while we compete with, we think, hotels and vacation rentals, they are a completely different animal. And so we are constantly testing features and figuring out how to make it easier to book. You know, one example of how it's completely different is earlier this year, we launched a vehicle match. So if you've never rented an RV, but you have something you think that could tow a trailer, you could go to the site and say, hey, I have a Toyota 4Runner, and we'll match you to the trailers that you can tow. So just innovating in ways that people might not, that will bring people to understand what it takes to rent an RV. I would say the other thing is that on the owner side of a marketplace, that at HomeAway, the number one thing that drove satisfaction was bookings. And so, you know, our owners will not be happy if we're not driving bookings to them. So, you know, driving that demand is always going to be a top priority. We obviously have, you know, we know that the common tool set that's needed. There's a dashboard where owners can manage their bookings, and there's ways and features that we offer to optimize those bookings. But a lot of those owners are new at the same time. So, you know, both the owner side and the renter side is new. And just like at HomeAway, education is going to be critical on both sides of the marketplace. I spent many years educating our owner base at HomeAway. And so that is always that's going to be something that I've brought over to RVShare as well.
What about anything related to like quality standards and safety and security related to the RV industry? What role does RVShare play in all of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we look at quality from a couple different perspectives. The first one is the actual quality of the RV. And one of the great things about marketplaces is that it self-regulates with features like reviews. Having said that, we also have certain standards that we that are required in order to get an RV insured on our platform. So we do have quality standards from the RV perspective. I would say the second bucket there is around listing quality. You know, a few people mentioned this earlier in the event, but things like accurate calendars and great photos are critical. You know, so we try and set up our owners with the minimum required to get a great listing. And then we encourage them through education to adopt features that renters really want. You know, another feature that is great from the RV perspective is that owners can offer the ability to deliver their RV. So if you're new to renting and you don't want to have to drive the RV, you know, an owner will just deliver it to the campground where you're going, or to the event where you're going. So you don't have to worry about the driving part of the process. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. You had
No, I
more
was
to
just
add?
going to say that the third area is really around standards when it comes to owner behavior.
Okay.
We want all of our owners to be professional operators. And so really educating them on, that you can't cancel, that you have to respond quickly, and responding within the hour is preferable, if not immediately. So really educating owners who are new to this type of business on what it takes to really deliver a great experience is probably the third area where we really look at quality.
And what about, obviously someone renting an RV to go to a national park, or even like that concept of in the driveway, that kind of establishes the location. But what if there's someone who is unsure about where they can even take an RV and where they can park it overnight? I mean, you mentioned something earlier, I think, about partnerships or, working with others. Do you have any kind of partnerships in the work, let's say with destinations or attractions or things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have partners across multiple of those. One is out, to your suggestion about planning. We have partnered with several outdoor planning apps. One is The Dirt, Rover Pass, and Campendium are a few we partner with. They help renters plan and find the campgrounds. There's also a set of campground providers that we've partnered with. Reserve America does a ton of bookings to national and state parks. Hip Camp, Harvest Host is one where you can stay at vineyards. And then a couple big private campground providers are KOL and Jellystone. So those are, we do partner with several people to help you, kind of think about the destination and enable those bookings as well.
Okay. And as we're getting down to just our last couple minutes here, I know that RVShare raised $100 million just about a year ago, last October. Can you give us a sense of what is next? And actually, let me start by saying, are you only in the US right now? Is that correct? Or
Yes.
North America?
Yeah.
Okay. So, is international expansion in the plans, or what else do you have planned for the future?
Yeah, I mean, so the largest RV market in the world is the United States. And so for now, our focus is to continue to grow the United States. Like I mentioned, we are so early days and category awareness is super low. So we have a ton of work to do to make it a mainstream travel category. When thinking internationally, I do think we think that there's an opportunity with international travelers coming to the US. There are a lot that come to the US and go and see the parks. And so really targeting them is an opportunity for us.
Okay. And beyond that type of expansion, anything else that you have in the works, whether as far as your user experience or your platform, anything like that?
I would say we're always focused on the renter and improving the experience and growing. So nothing outside of really creating that mainstream travel category.
Okay, wonderful. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.